All right, here's a quick reminder now of some of the people that have been accused, and some of them are now convicts sitting in jail. Rosemary Ndlovu, remember her? She's already been convicted for the deaths of 6 people. In a separate matter, a nurse, Stembile Kulu, and her gardener, Simon Mokhale, are accused of murdering domestic worker Busiswa Nxumalo for allegedly a 6 million rand payout. Let's get more now on this trend that seems to be, it seems to be taking a hold in South Africa. We speak now to the Association of Savings and Investment South Africa's Jean van Niekerk. Mr. van Niekerk, good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time. Let's start with how concerned the insurance community is, or should we say insurance industry is, about these murders for insurance.
Well, to start, I think we are seeing a gradual increase year on year in violent crime in South Africa. I think that warrants concern from the industry as a whole, as well as consumers. And what I think is quite critical to realize rather is that we're also looking at a big component where insurance payouts are valid. Forensic units, life insurance companies alike put a lot of time, effort, investment, technology into detecting fraud, the harder crimes elements as well, if we're talking about violent crime, for example. And certainly it's a top of mind element for the industry as a whole.
Ensuring that the insurance payouts are valid, what are the checks and balances from the insurance industry to make sure that these claims are above board?
Well, there's a multitude of checks and balances at play. One can appreciate that different products hold different risks. Among some of the checks and balances, each insurance company has highly skilled, dedicated forensic units, investigative units. Alongside that, the insurance industry has made great strides in utilizing big data, utilizing data sharing, and also utilizing third-party data of the likes of Home Affairs and other third parties that we utilize across the country, of course. There's really no one silver bullet for this. It's the amalgamation of efforts, the amalgamation of data, technology, and people and skill sets that ultimately helps us combat these types of crimes.
You speak about these checks and balances. Someone listening, though, is going to say, Nomia Ndlovu, this is the lady whose visuals we're playing on the screen right now as you and I talk. She started killing her family members from the year 2012. And I think, if I am not mistaken here, the last claim would have been in the year 2018. That would have been perhaps one of the last insurance payouts to her. And the string of bodies, I think about 6 of them, as we said in the introduction. So if the insurance industry indeed was confident about its checks and balances, how could this happen?
Well, there's a multitude of reasons, and this case I've only recently started following. But the challenge that the insurance industry will have is generally where there's family members being insured and murdered for the insurance payouts. There's a principle within life insurance called insurable interest, and it does make it exponentially more difficult to detect irregularity where there is insurable interest present, such as in the case of mother, children, spouses, or family members. That does not take away from the fact that unnatural deaths are treated as high risk, and of course that does attract additional verification and scrutiny from the industry when they do receive these claims and where they are handling these claims. Again, there's no silver bullet for these types of matters, unfortunately, and it does rely on the entire value chain, the industry collaborating, law enforcement, public and private sector collaborating in really achieving successes in detecting these and hopefully more proactively preventing them.
Yeah. How much have these companies suffered in terms of losses through such fraudulent claims?
So we do, as the Association of Savings and Investments, tally fraud statistics, dishonesty statistics relating to claims, and we report on those annually within media as well as other platforms. However, we don't currently have a full view on murder for money, as it's termed more specifically. To that end, we have gone through quite a strenuous process in 2024 to refine our statistic collaborations, to refine the categories within which we collect statistics, in an effort to start sizing the problem. From what we know and what we see in media versus what we see in law enforcement collaborations, these are few and far between based on what we know at present. But again, the association is working on how we refine our insights into these types of frauds and these types of heinous matters to better respond as an industry and to better collaborate.
Insurance products, as a final question to you, let's talk about the insurance products that are more vulnerable to fraud and this kind of fraud that you and I are talking about.
So obviously this would entail death claims generally. So the two that come to mind for me would be your more complex underwritten products. We do see less of that within the complex range. Again, those products cannot be taken without the knowledge, consent of somebody else. You can appreciate there are medicals, etc., that need to be fulfilled as part of the underwriting processes for these products. We do also see it rearing its head, unfortunately, in the funeral space. The funeral policies in general are constructed as a quick response in the case of bereavement. Again, there are certain cultural nuances in which burials need to occur within the same day. And of course, the industry generally tries to pay those claims within 24 to 48 hours maximum. Within those two ranges, I would say, is where we exclusively see these types of frauds rearing their heads, and they are the most prominent two categories of policies, if you will, or policy types where these frauds do occur.
Yeah. General advice to members of the public who want to take such products, but suppose are growing wary of taking them because, I don't know, they could have hesitation thinking that they could themselves get into trouble.
In the context of taking a policy yourself, I think it's always important to read your terms and conditions, understanding the terms and conditions that you are entering a contract under. It's also important for our consumers and our population as a whole to be aware of where to report suspicions of insurance fraud specifically. There are industry lines available. Those lines are company agnostic, meaning they are run by independent auditing firms. And if there are suspicions that anybody within our country holds around a form of insurance fraud, they can quite rapidly utilize those channels. We encourage that reporting. It helps the industry respond. It helps the industry to collaborate around these types of allegations, and of course, to clear them out and investigate them thoroughly. But I would say from a consumer perspective, very important, understand what you're signing up for, understand the terms and conditions, and operate within the bounds of those terms and conditions. And more often than not, consult a financial advisor, ensure that you understand what you're looking for and that it meets the need of what you need as a consumer.
Jean van Niekerk, thank you very much for your time and the piece of advice there at the end. He is with the Association of Savings and Investment South Africa.